This transfer window is one for the history books. You're trying to tell me that all it took for Arsenal to go for Eze was a Havertz injury? I'm telling you, this transfer window is one for the history books. I had to repeat myself again. Wow. I'm guessing, listen, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title. There's no need to do an intro. You know what to do to support this channel. Arsenal are about to sign Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. And Tottenham Hotspur have fumbled Eberechi Eze. They have fumbled the transfer of Eberechi Eze. Unbelievable scenes. Even me, I was so sure. And listen, I'll hold my hands up. I'll take the L. You lot in the comments are gonna, say what you have to say. It's fine. It's football. I was wrong. But I was so sure that this guy was going to Spurs. The way reports were talking, everything was pointing towards the fact that Eze was going to end up at Spurs. And in my head, I was like, this is the perfect match. He's going to play in the number 10. Well, he's not going to be wearing the number 10 because Maddison still has it. He's going to be playing week in, week out. He's going to have Champions League football. He's not going to be drifting out to the left, maybe during the game, etc. But he's not going to be playing off the left. He's going to be playing an attacking, free-flowing style of football because Thomas Frank does play that type of football. So everything was pointing towards the fact that this was going to happen. But then, and this is where I have to explain to you guys the chain of events that happened today. 20th of August 2025, 8 minutes past 12 p.m. David Ornstein, Arsenal forward Kai Havertz, set for spell out with a knee injury. Assessment on 26-year-old Germany international at early stage, so prognosis plus duration unclear. But AFC actively exploring transfer market for signing to strengthen attack and provide cover. So far, nothing's happening. And at that point, social media's going mad. Arsenal fans are losing it. Me and all of my mates online doing the most, putting out Nicholas Jackson memes and Nicholas Jackson videos. I personally responded to a tweet from my guy Flex where he was talking about Nicholas Jackson, and I replied with the tweet of a 2-second video of, when the players have to say their names and stuff. Nicholas Jackson. That's what I posted under Flex's tweet. Let's move on. 20th of August 2025, 33 minutes past 7 p.m. Exclusive. Arsenal make move for Eberechi Eze plus 27-year-old wants them. Tottenham lined up deal with Crystal Palace today and player, but after Havertz injury plus AFC now closing in on England international, if he proceeds with choice, Tottenham will pursue other targets. And at that point, you kind of knew what was happening. Everyone was just waiting for them 3 famous words. Everyone was waiting for it. And then we got it. 20th of August 2025, 52 minutes past 9 p.m. Breaking Eberechi Eze to Arsenal. Here we go. Verbal agreement in place between all parties. Crystal Palace to receive package in excess of £60 million as Eze preferred AFC over Spurs. Arsenal win race over Tottenham. Been in advanced talks for days, but never sealed. And I think I have to start with Tottenham here, man. Tottenham, what a fat L. I mean, how can you fumble a transfer like that? Like I said, all of the reports from last week were suggesting that Eze was going to end up at Spurs. I could see it happening in terms of the profile, in terms of the personality. He was going to join a group that was going to welcome him and he would fit in there. And he was probably going to be a starter because obviously Maddison is out. Spurs, I don't know what was happening in Spurs' camp. There was talks even today, this morning, before the Havertz news even broke. There was news that broke that Spurs were trying to include Richarlison in the deal. So have Eze go over to Spurs, and Spurs were going to offer money plus Richarlison. And that kind of, it threw me off because I was like, why are you trying to penny pinch on the price that was set by Crystal Palace, knowing that Crystal Palace were most likely not going to accept anything below a package of 60 million. So it was really weird to me, and I don't remember how much it was exactly that they offered plus Richarlison, but it was really weird to me for me to read that. And at that point already, I'm thinking, this might not go through. This might not go through, you know. This really might not go through because does Crystal Palace really need, or would they have really needed someone like Richarlison? No, not really. And plus, Richarlison is on fire for Spurs. He's scoring goals. Why would you want to get rid of him? Maybe to bring in another striker, you never know. But if you got Richarlison there, if you got Tell there, and if you got Solanke in there, I just don't understand. Unless Thomas Frank wanted to have two strikers only to rotate between Champions League, Premier League, Cup games, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, etc., then I understand. But to try and give away Richarlison, that just seemed very, very strange. Now, with that being said, business for Spurs is not done. I'm reading reports that they're after a very talented young French player from Monaco called Akliouche. Apparently, they are still in or could go back in for Savinho, but that could, cause a domino effect. Havertz is now injured. Eze goes to Arsenal. Savinho could go to Spurs, which could mean City might be back in for Rodrigo. But we don't know yet, so let's park that to the side for a bit. Spurs have fumbled this one big time. Big time. And I guess these are the consequences of not doing your business quick enough. Because remember, all of this was done in like less than 6-7 hours, which I think should be a record in itself. I don't know when we've ever had an interest and a here we go in less than 6-7 hours. You guys let me know in the comments. Maybe there has been a transfer that has happened so quickly, but I can't remember off the top of my head having a transfer happen so quickly. So Spurs, you guys have to hold a big L for that. Massive L, because I believe that Spurs could have completely changed their midfield with Eze in there, with his creativity, the way he runs with the ball, his ability to penetrate different defenses and midfields and, carry the ball. He's an excellent ball carrier. Spurs could have used someone like that, because I did speak about the PSG game where Spurs were kind of lacking that extra bit of quality, that extra bit of creativity that they need in a footballer. And I think Eze would have been perfect in that Spurs midfield. So Spurs have to hold it. They have to hold it. That being said though, Arsenal signed a fantastic player in Eberechi Eze. I talked about his qualities, but I think Arsenal is a football club that pays attention to how a player is off the field as well. And, having watched a couple of videos here and there, they're getting not just an excellent player in Eze, but they're also getting a very, very good person in Eze. And obviously there's that love story there. He played for Arsenal before, got released when he was younger. You guys know the story. He was sad and then ended up at QPR, etc., etc. Then Crystal Palace, and now he's back at Arsenal. So it's essentially a story of a boy coming back home or going back home. So he's not going to have any issues settling in, getting to know the teammates, etc., etc. We're going to have to talk about the trio, the trident that might be happening at Arsenal. Eze, Madueke, and Saka. I can't lie, this is looking good, people. This is looking good. And listen, I'm just being completely honest. Eze in this Arsenal squad completely changes almost everything for the title race. Because Eze brings something special that I believe Martinelli doesn't have, and arguably even Odegaard doesn't have. Eze has that, he's got that stardust. He's got that stardust, and a lot of people questioned even towards the back end of the season, can he do it week in, week out? Can he do it on the biggest stage? Well, now Eze's going to have the opportunity to show and prove to the people that he can do it on the biggest stage. It's going to be very interesting to see him, not just in the Premier League, but in the Champions League as well. That's going to be the first time him playing at the biggest level, European-wise. Europe-wise, sorry. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, you do have to flip it, look at it from a different angle and go, and this is why I asked the question at the beginning of the video. All it took was a Havertz injury. So if we reverse it, if Havertz never got injured, Arsenal never would have gone in for Eze. And that kind of raises alarm bells, because if Arteta and Berta were looking at this midfield and thinking, or this squad and thinking, they don't really need Eze, there's a problem. There's a problem. And credit to Arsenal, because they managed to get the deal done very quickly, like I said. But questions have to be asked as to why it happened only because Havertz is injured. And there's another question. Now, remember what I said about Eze potentially going to Arsenal at the time when it wasn't known yet? And I asked the question, if Arteta had an all-important game tomorrow and he had to choose on the left-hand side between Eze and Martinelli, who would he choose? If he had the choice between choosing between Eze and Odegaard in the 10, who would he go for? Because those are questions Arsenal fans are going to have to ask themselves now. Knowing how Arteta functions and knowing how much he likes Odegaard, knowing how much he likes Martinelli because of his defensive work and all of that, who would he choose? Because I'll tell you what, do not for a second think that Eze is a bench player, because he's not. He's a type of player that you need to be starting week in, week out. So if it was up to me, Arsenal fans, I'd start to be thinking about saying goodbye to Martinelli. I think he had his time. I think his time's up now. I think for way too long, it's been poor. It's been so poor. Against Manchester United, he was one of Arsenal's worst players on the pitch, I'll be honest. But again, is Eze the type of player to be playing off the left? Eze needs freedom. Eze needs, of course, every player needs structure, but Eze needs structure to a certain extent. You can't shoehorn him into one position and tell him just do this. So it would be a real shame if Arteta tries to shoehorn Eze into his rigid system and just tells him, you do that, but don't come inside. Don't, drift into the middle because this is Odegaard space. It would be a real shame if Arteta done this. A real shame. So it'll be interesting to see what Arteta's going to do with Eze tactically. So, yeah, and listen, the first game for Eze could be Liverpool, which is crazy in itself. And I did read that he's going to play for Palace in the Conference League playoffs tomorrow night. So Thursday night, if you watch it the next day. So it is said that he's going to play for Palace one more time, which I think will allow him to say goodbye to the fans. They're playing at home, etc., etc. So we'll wait and see what happens with this one. But I'm really, really interested in seeing what Arteta's going to do tactically with Eze. Tactically, that's going to be so important. If Arteta gets this wrong, he could potentially, I'm not going to say ruin a player, but, again, Eze needs freedom to play. He needs space. He needs to be doing what he feels like doing at that moment in time and what feels right. If you just tell him go to the byline and cross it in, he's not that type of player. And I really, again, I'm saying it for the fourth time, I really hope Arteta gets it right tactically with Eze. Because if not, yeah. But anyway, Arsenal fans, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts, your comments. Yes, I'm going to get roasted in the comments. I know that. But listen, nobody could have foreseen this turnaround, this complete 360. Nobody saw this coming. But anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe. It's road to 20k, closing in on 19 this time. Yeah, we've passed 18k, so shout out to you lot. Appreciate you guys, man. You guys are absolutely amazing. So yeah, you know what to do, man. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.